Okay, so we're running a couple minutes late. Hopefully this has all been helpful for us as we've been kind of hurrying through these and transitioning topic to topic. So right now we are going to focus on the growth group. You're more than welcome to stick around, obviously. The topics that I want to spend the next 15 minutes on are topics that are relevant to agents that are, let's say, about 11 units or more per year.
I'm going to head out. Thanks, Bill.
You're welcome. Thank you.
Bye-bye. Bye.
Thank you.
All right. If you're not there yet, feel free to stay. Seriously. But talk to me, Jan or Alicia or Heather or Pam. Talk to me about what you're experiencing and what you have questions on.
You know, my big thing is some of the things that are still not working in Command or not working well. Do we have any updates on what's coming down the pike, or, you know, so we can kind of plan around those things? Because, you know, there's just things that we don't know.
Give me an example.
Like there's still problems with MailChimp, is one. There's issues like being able to sort. Here's a perfect instance. So I want to send a text message to my database. Well, I can't exclude realtors. I can include realtors, but I can't exclude realtors.
So I'm going to be a gentle 10 with you, Jan. Just put it to the side and go get some listings. I know
I'm working on that.
Not exactly what you want to hear, but we can't snap our fingers and make it work perfectly. So what we need to do instead is focus on the things we can control. And you can drop Sam a message saying, do you know anything that might come? Or you can.
That's what I'm asking you, Bill. Is there any updates on what's coming down the pike so that we can, you know, focus what we're doing around what we know is happening?
The best resource for that is probably going to be the KW Command Facebook group right now.
Okay.
Either that group or the Command Your Conversation. Say, hey, I'm having an issue with this. Does anyone know of a fix, or does anyone know if this is on the roadmap?
Jan, I'll add.
Yes.
You while you're correct, you cannot exclude any group in any tag. You can include all the tags that you don't use for realtors.
So you're saying rather than just sending it to my database in general, to go in and figure out what all my tags are and actually send it per tag?
Right. Now, if you're wanting to send it to clients, are they all in your, you know, A and W and that kind of stuff? The DTD2 tags?
Yeah.
If they are,
yeah.
Okay, then just include those 13 tags.
Gotcha.
Okay.
Yeah, because like I have a lot of investors, and you know, I'm spending a lot of money on texts that don't make sense to my investors. They make sense to my real retail clients. So, you know, I want to target who I'm working for.
Okay, so you should have tags set up as investors and either you could call it not investor or client, or, you know, whatever you want to name it, as a different tag, so you can easily separate those two groups.
That's a great idea, Pam. I didn't think of it that way. Okay, thank you.
Yeah. Thanks, Pam. I have probably erred on the side of not experimenting enough with Command, because I err on the side of becoming frustrated faster than the average person. And so if I try something and it doesn't work, I'm off. And I'm going to immediately put my energy into something different. And then when it pops back up into my head in a week or two, I'll try it again. If it doesn't work, I'm right back where I need to be. I'm not going to let it get me down.
Well, unfortunately, if if you're trying to run your business completely with command, you have to figure out the workarounds, because otherwise you can't. You have to use something else. And that was my number one business goal for the year, is to be 100% command. And so that's how I'm trying to run
You've
my
got
business.
8 months left. If it's not ready to run your business the way you want it to run, then use one third-party tool in addition to command, or whatever you got to do in addition to command to do what you need to do. So you're not going to be able to make command what it doesn't do.
But I'm trying to manage my expenses. So it's like a double-edged sword, because to employ other stuff, it's going to cost me way more than trying to figure out some workaround in command. So
put it out there for the people that are connected to the timelines and likely know those possible workarounds. And if it's not something that is possible right now, then just let it be, and text them manually, or put it on the Facebook page, or email Sam and just find out, is there a workaround here that I can achieve the following goal with?
Gotcha. Okay. Thank you.
Okay, cool. What else is on your mind, guys?
I'm having an issue right now in a negotiation phase with a townhouse that my client is buying. It's a Keller offer that he's buying from, which obviously we know is OfferPad. And there is just a monstrous amount of work that needs to be done. Obviously, from the inspection, I just picked up the most important stuff, which is really quickly the hallway closet hose rack and the water heater. And
you're on the buyer side, right?
I am on the buyer side. I'm representing the buyer. And when I step on that floor, so there's a subflooring issue. When you put a little foot pressure on the floor that's supporting these two units, the floor is so brittle, it like crackles. Like it's seconds away from falling apart, right?
Okay.
So I get a contractor out there. He gives me this whole, he added so much more than I even needed him to. But what I really wanted to address was the subflooring issue that goes through the kitchen to the bathroom and to this area. But the closet area is the worst. Now, this townhouse is for my stepson, so his dad is super duper handy. He can handle the subflooring in the kitchen and the bathroom. But for this closet, we have to get these units removed. There needs to be a truss replaced underneath it, whatever. So I got a contractor. For that portion of the job, he quoted $6,000. Okay, fine. So OfferPad came back, said they were going to give us $3,500. I said, well, I want $5,500. We settled on $4,500, right? But their stipulation is, we're not going to give your client, we're not going to, and we can't give your client cash. So we're just going to make the check out to contractor of choice.
Yeah.
Which any day would be fine, right? Except that I told you guys before, my decab contractor, we had a $4,000 check sitting for him, and we couldn't get in touch with him, only to find out that he's now on a respirator, on a ventilator, fighting for his life. So I have an issue with getting a check written out to a contractor who could, one, I have a two-part issue. One, I don't want to make a check out to a contractor who could fall under the same circumstances as Mr. Reed. But two, I'm not comfortable giving a contractor a whole $4,500 check up front, and then they don't, turn around and show up and complete the job and so on and so forth.
So you have to, well, first of all, that check is going to be paid at closing. And you're going to have a conversation with the contractor ahead of time to make sure that money, they're going to say, hey, in a week, you're going to get this check, and this is for this job and this invoice. Do you have any questions? Right.
God forbid this guy falls ill too. And then
God forbid you fall ill. God forbid the attorney falls ill. You can't go through life like that. We'll deal with that if the time comes.
A little bit different though, because I'm giving this guy live funds that could get tied up in limbo, and this floor issue could never get fixed.
You're not giving them anything. You are, the attorney is giving that money.
apples and apples, apples and oranges. He's still getting the money, right? Can I tell you what I kind of proposed? Because I see what you're
Yeah.
saying. I just don't agree with it.
Okay, go ahead.
So what I said to him was, I'm requesting the sellers apply $4,500 to the closing costs in addition to what they've already agreed upon at $3,500.
Do they need that $8,000?
I mean, it would help him, right? He could keep the cash that he was going to use to close in pocket and pay off the contractor as the work gets done.
Well, hold on. Is there actually $8,000 worth of
yeah.
closing costs though?
Oh yeah.
Okay, then that's a good way to do it.
And then
And does he not go over the percentage, a maximum percentage he can have for closing costs?
that's something I didn't think of.
Yeah. Yeah. Look into
How much
that.
is the home?
It's so cheap. It's $130. It's a townhouse in Tucker.
Ooh, you're not going to be able to get 8,000 in closing costs. What kind of loan is he
Nor
getting?
do you need it.
Conventional. No,
Call the lender and say, what are the closing costs? Because 8,000 is probably more than you need.
I have the closing costs. So what they are currently right now left over that my client has to pay out of pocket is like $5,270.
So you're telling me the closing costs on a $130,000 property on a conventional loan is like $8,000 or $9,000?
Yeah, that's what Shelter gave us the whole printout. I checked it this morning before I did it, before I wrote this up.
Wow.
Mm-hmm. And Tammy Mills told me initially I could ask for, now that Pam says that, it reminded me that I could ask for up to $7,500 in closing costs. So, but then the second part of my text was, if they're not willing to do that, I'm requesting $2,250 be applied to the closing costs and $2,250 be held by the closing attorney in escrow, which we can withdraw upon completion of the work for final payment.
Sure.
Fair enough?
I agree to that.
Okay. All right. He said he's going to pass it on. Working with these sellers and buyers, it takes days upon days it's
It'll
exhausting.
end soon.
I can't wait. I hope we're still slated to close on the 22nd.
Hang on one second, guys.
Okay. Pam, I didn't even think about that we had that certain percentage. I completely forgot.
Well, I tend to forget it too. So that's why I kind of wanted to remind.
I'm sorry, I missed what you said.
Oh, I said, I tend to forget about it too. So that's why I kind of wanted to remind you, because we're usually just thinking, does it cover the closing costs?
Right.
There's that other factor in there as well.
Right. You're right. Completely forgot about that. Well, anyway, those were my proposals. So I guess we'll see what he's doing.
Yeah, exactly.
See, I don't remember I'm looking right now. His out-of-pocket closing cost is $5,270.40 at this point, and they're already contributing $3,500 to closing. So I could up it by a couple of grand to hit 7. Yeah, his total funds to close were $10,000 on this very inexpensive property.
Yeah, well, that's why we can't quote like closing costs are a certain percentage of a loan, because there are certain fixed costs. So even on a low priced home, that would increase the percentage for the closing costs.
Right.
Just things like what it costs for the attorney to do it, or the inspection, or the appraisal, or that kind of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
What the loan officers get paid, to do the loan.
Right. Should I reach out to Tammy and find out how much interest we can charge on it? Or I'm sorry, what percentage we can charge?
Yeah, I was just over trying to look in my notes to see if I had that. I know I have it, so let me continue.
Oh, I might have it. Hold on. You're right. I forgot about that. Oh.
It has to do with the down payment.
His down payment is 3.5%.
So it's an FHA loan?
No, she was able to get him a conventional at 3.5%. I don't know how she worked her magic, but she did that.
3.5% down or 3.
Down.
Okay, gotcha.
Yeah, you can get them for 3 or 3.5 down on conventionals.
Yeah, she runs it both ways to see which is better for a first-time home buyer, via FHA or via
All right, guys, I'm going to step off. I'll mute it. You can keep the room open. I'm going to grab on my coaching call now, okay?
Okay.
Okay. Yeah, Heather, typically it's going to be